Hello guys, welcome to edspread YouTube channel. And today we are here with you with another bootcamp, which is web development with React. And in this bootcamp, we'll be learning entirely about the React JS and how to use them in your projects. Before starting the React JS, let's go through the basics, which are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, so that even beginner with no prerequisites will be able to understand this bootcamp. And the people who have viewed my previous bootcamp, which is HTML and CSS, can also refer to this. It would be a brush up to your skills. And in today's session, we'll be covering the entire HTML part, and in tomorrow we'll be completing CSS. And after that, after a little bit of JavaScript, we'll start a React part. And uh, make sure to fill the attendance form so for the every session in this bootcamp to receive a certificate at the end of the bootcamp. And yeah, that's it for now. So let's start with our HTML session. As we know, HTML is a markup language. You have even heard about the XML and some other markup languages, out of all which HTML is easy and it's exclusively used for developing web pages, and it displays the content present in it. So HTML consists entirely tags. It's called as markup language as it contains only the tags. So before going into briefing, let's create our HTML web page. All you have to do is download VS Code, which we have mentioned before. You just go to Google and press download VS Code. We'll be getting, so entire editing will be doing in VS Code itself. Out of VS Code, just create a folder which I've created over here, which is my front end React, and just open that folder. Yeah, so just create a file. Let's say uh, index.html, and make sure that when you're creating your HTML web pages, it should have an HTML extension. And I give an index because a basic HTML file which will be having a namespace of index. As we know, we'll be having multiple web pages and multiple links in that web page. So that we usually keep our main page name as an index, so that it will be distinguished from other web pages. Before going, just get your HTML boilerplate, or which you'll get over here, and don't worry about the syntax. Just make sure that here the doc type which you see mentions the version of the HTML. Currently, we are using the HTML which is of HTML5 version. So this doc type tells us about the version of HTML. It doesn't even matter if you write this on top or not. It's just for the user to identify the version of it. And then comes the HTML tag, which is the entire thing. You can start it's opening over here and ending over here. So there are two tags basically. This is the HTML tag, and then we get the head tag and body tag. So uh, this entire thing is about what we say, the syntax or the version control, which which we can do even without it. Let me show you. Just remove this and you HTML tag. HTML tag is important because whatever you write, the content will be placed inside HTML tag. So inside HTML tag, you'll be having another tag which is a head tag, and closed it. And then after this is head tag, and after head tag we'll be having a body tag. Yeah, and inside head tag we'll be having another tag which is a title tag, and inside body you'll be having main info tag. So this is the basic HTML syntax which you will be following for every web page. So instead of writing this all, you can just directly go for this. Here you'll be getting entire document. And let's first talk about the head part. Usually we don't learn much about head tag, and in head tag only we require one attribute, which is the title attribute. This title attribute is nothing but it will display the content which is present over here. Here I'm having webdev with React day one. So to get this content, they must have placed this webdev with React day one over here, the title page. Then only it will be displayed at the top of your web page. And to open them in your Google Chrome browser or any other browser, you can open it. So doing so, you have to copy the path of this. You can do by just right clicking, copy the path, and place it in the search box over here. Yeah, there you go. You're getting index.html as we are having a default name. Now let's change the name to say first web page. Now save this and don't forget to save the document, because now let's say I haven't saved this document, I'm trying to refresh it, then you'll be seeing no changes because the document isn't saved. Just press Ctrl S and you can press even Ctrl R. You can see we are getting a first web page over here. Basically whatever we write over here will be displayed on the top of the page. This is about the title and that's it. And inside body we'll be having different tags, like whatever you write here will be displayed. Now save this and run. You'll be getting a display over here, but rather than displaying randomly, we can create a paras. Just queue a para tag. The p tag stands for the para tag, and now let's write the same content over here and you'll be seeing no change. The only thing is that you're getting line spacing on top. We'll be talking that about in the CSS part. Coming to the content doesn't changes anything. Then why we are adding into the p tag? Because when we have multiple paragraph tags or multiple header tags, this will be useful to distinguish. Now let's say I'm giving another tag over here. Let's save this on there. Save this and run. So it says that this is a different para and this is again a different para by giving a space between them. So that's the main use of the paragraph tag. And next step we have a header tag, and the syntax for it is h1. Let's say welcome. Now save this and run. You can see its font size has increased and also it has become bold, whereas this is a normal text. That's what h1, which are header tags, and h1 we have even other tags like h2, h3, and h2, h3, and h4. Let's make those changes. Now save this and run. You can see the font size is being decreased up to h4, and you can see almost h4 and the paragraph tags are same. And yeah, that's about the header tags. You can change the font size on basis of your requirement. Usually we give h2 more for headings because h1 is really pretty large and h2 is a bit good, so usually we're using more h2 tags. And that's about the tags. This is the basic content which we covered. We completed body h1 p tags, and yeah, now let us write. After writing some content, we'll be having another two tags, which are hr tag and br tag. hr tag stands for horizontal tag and br for line break. Now let's say after two paras we'll be having a line. We wanted a line to distinguish them, then we go for hr tag, and you can see there's no other tag which is displayed for hr tag. So these types of tag are known as self-closing tag. We need not explicitly close them. On mentioning a single tag will be sufficient for the content to be displayed. And yeah, so just save this and refresh. There you go, you're getting a line which distinguishes them. Whenever you write a huge chunk of para and you're writing some another image, putting some another image or viewing a table, so to distinguish them will be keeping this line. And you can also um, style this tag, which we'll be learning in css. That's about the hr tag. And then we have br tag. Br tag stands for line break. Now let us say I've taken a single paragraph. Let me get a random text. So lorem ipsum is nothing but usually web developers use it to get a random text. So instead of getting a random text, they'll be using this. Just they'll copy this part, copy this text, and let's paste it on our p tag. You got a large p tag. Now you can see that if you press enter many times. Now I wanted my paragraph tag uh, to take it to a new line. After getting few words, I want the content to be displayed in another line. If I try to, let's say, still elite, I want it to continue in this first line, and then I want my from the set to go into the next line. And hence, I'm giving space over here. Let's see what happens if I'm saving and running. There's no change. You can see that here is my sedo and it's in the same line as this. Even after giving a space over here, it does not evaluating it because HTML does not bother about the white spaces given in your text editor. So to get this um, break, we will be using a line break statement which will give a break in your line, and you can see it's also self-closing tag. See, now the sedo is being placed in other line. This is the usage of br tag. There's a quite difference between the p tag and br tag. Now you can see I'm taking the same content, saving this. Let's give another p tag. Yeah, so entire text is being repeated again, but let's remove this br tag. We said we wanted a line break, so what if you write them in two different paras? I have already told you, right? When we write in two different paragraphs, they'll be given in two different lines. So why we can do in this way also, right? Why to use br explicitly? Let's check that then. Now save this and run. You can see yes, it absolutely gave our text displayed in a second line, but there's a gap between them. Over here there's no gap by which we can say that this is a single para. There is no divisions of para, but when you see at this text, you can say as there's a certain white space between them, this is a different para. So that is a usage of br tag, uh, which makes the user to see that this entire thing belongs to a same para. So that's the usage of the br tag and hr tag. And at next step we'll be having a list. I'm going a pretty, what we say, a pretty brief context. I'm not telling you the inner text present in it, just a briefing. If you want to know even more advanced part of this, or even the inner part of this, you can refer to the previous videos in which I have completed HTML over 3 videos, and now I'll be covering it in one video itself. So it's just a briefing of HTML. And next step we have list, and let's create a list. This is nothing but will be which you have seen already, like in your Google Forms or in your Google Doc. You'll be creating a list, or even in PPT. Now let's see. Now you can see here I'm having a circles, which means these two are list, but those are unordered because there's no number displayed for them. There's only a black circle present, and that's known as unordered list. And if there is particular number, let's say 1 2 mentioning, then that's a order list. So let at first of all just take our unordered list. So first the tag is ul, and inside ul in the sense it's showing the editor that it's a unordered list, and inside unordered list you'll be having a certain different list. Right now let's say these two are of unordered list, and this is my list 1 and this is my list 2. So to know that list 1 and list 2, you'll be using an li tag, which is a list, and inside this you can place the content. Now let's say this is of order list, and let's go for another thing which is unordered list. Now save this and run. Sorry, yeah. You are getting a list format which is unordered list and unordered list. As you can see, uh, we are getting a circles rather than numbers, mentioning that these are unordered format. Now you can see why people who use Google Doc have seen that sometimes we'll be getting different types of symbols, or not only the black dot symbol, will be getting white dot, a square, a star. So to get your use symbols which you like, you can just go for the style property, and inside this style property you'll be having a attribute which is list style type, and here you'll be getting those attributes. You want a circle, I want a disk, this is thing which we are using normally, or a square. So let's go for a circle for now. You can see now the circle contains an empty circle, I mean the circle itself, not a disk. So that's about the list style property. And that's about the unordered list. Now let's talk about order list. Order list is almost same as unordered in syntax. All you have to do is to change. Now let me copy this thing, and at ul you all have to do is keep an o, saying that it's an order list. There's no much change. Now if you save this and run here and run, you can see that's it, our order list syntax. You're getting a 1 and 2. That's about it, and you can also change this 1 and 2 to Roman numbers and some other numbers by changing the type of it or the value, and which you can do it easily. That's about the order list and unordered list. And if you wanted to know more attributes present in list, you can go to W3 schools or MDN, which I use pretty frequently. Now let's say I want order list HTML MDN. Here you can see the attributes. These are all the attributes which we can mention in our order list. Now reverse, start, type. Now let's go for type. Let's say head over here and give it a type attribute, and you're getting a different values for it. In default it is 1. Now let us make it a. Now save and run. So we're getting AB, and another one is the reversed one. Let's go and give a reversed. Now save. You can see here we are in AB. On refreshing it, you are getting it as BN. And understand clearly when you have numbers. Now these are the Roman values. We're getting the higher value at the top and lower value at the bottom. And these are many more attributes which you can try it out later. These are the basic one which you will be needing. And after list, that's it about the list, I guess. Yeah, this order list. Then we have images. We usually see a lot of images in a web page, which attracts user. So to create inserting that images is pretty simple into a web page. At first you have to just go and you will be having an image tag, and I guess you might have identified now this is a self-closing tag. There is no second tag mentioned here. So image basically has two attributes, which is SRC, which stands for source, another one is ALT, which is alternative. First let us go for source in the sense the link for the image tag. Let us say I'm taking the image from uh, the internet. I'm taking this image. Let's click on this. Right click. Now here there's two interesting things. You're having a copy link address and copy image address. Most people tend to click copy link address, but this is actually wrong, because if you paste the link address over here, this will redirect you to this link rather than displaying this image, which actually throws an error. Error in the sense it will not display anything in your HTML content, because image tag displays only an image. It doesn't display any link. It intakes and link. So don't press copy link address. Just copy the image address and paste it in your source tag. You can see the image address is pretty big here. Now save this and run. You can say your beautiful photo. You might think this photo is bigger. You can, decrease it in sizes by changing its width and height property. That's about the image. And when you create your own web pages, or while you're deploying them, don't use the internet images, because now let's say this internet image is being removed over here, and when you try to access it, then I'll show it. Let's say I'm giving a wrong link over here. I'll save this and run. You can see I'm getting an image icon, but it's not displaying anything, the image or any text. uh, to prompt the user that what image is it, we'll be using the alternative tag. We'll be having alt, the syntaxes, and let's say the image which we are using uh, is a mountain image or a beautiful scenery. Let's say a scenery. Now save this and run. You can see it's also displaying a content scenario. So whenever you try to display a photo over there in your web page, and a sort of an issue, the photo is not being loaded, and the people who will be browsing a web page will be able to know that this is a photo of the user. Now you can write here like, just a minute. Now you can see this is my image, so the people who are viewing it will be knowing. So the image which is not being displayed over here is your image. That's about the images. And after image, it specifies the path of the image, the source and the alternate tag. And coming links, you can see that now this is a link over here. There are pretty many links. Now just click on this open link in your tab. You will be redirected to a certain different page. Now you can see this page is entirely different from this page. But how you're being moving yourself to this web page while over here on just a one click on this. So this is what links, and now we'll implement the of um, same kind of process in our HTML web page. For that, all you have to do is go for a tag which is an a tag. Yeah, inside a tag you'll be having an attribute known as href, which is hyperreference link, which is almost same as the source tag. In here we have to give the path to which your web page is being displayed. Now when I click the link, I want the user to be moved to this link. So I'll be copying this link and paste it over here. Now when you save this and run, you'll be not seeing any output, because you didn't give any text for the link to be attached. Now let's say click what is this is an HTML list elements. Let's write the same HTML list elements. Now save this and run. You can see you're getting HTML list elements. One way to identify is that you'll be having a line at bottom of them, and on clicking this, let's directly click this, we'll be redirecting to the web page. And just go back. Oh, this is the usage of links. Even the links have different attributes like the underline. If you want to remove this line from this, you can uh, go there and place underline to none, which if you want more attributes, you can also check them in MDN. Now you'll be not requiring those advanced options. I'll stop the links over here itself, and our next topic is forms. So before going to forms, let's just take a link different tags because we are having still more time. Just go for links MDN in HTML. So these is for the anchor tag, and the attributes, these are not required. Hyperreference, which we have used for the URL, and we'll be having the type attribute, and these are the advanced forms. See, it's also useful for the telephone numbers, for email addresses as well. For email address, you might have seen my previous web development bootcamp in which we created a portfolio. In a portfolio, at the bottom, we have used a contact page in which on clicking your GitHub or LinkedIn, you'll be redirected to that link. So even when you mention your email address, so on clicking that, you'll be redirected to your Gmail page in which you can directly contact the user or to whom you wanted to connect. That's about the anchor tag. And after the anchor tag, we have the forms. And forms will be having different elements, like we have text boxes, password, check boxes, radio buttons, submit, reset, and other stuff. So first, let's look into our text box. Just go for your link, and the tag over here is form, and inside form we'll be having an input tag. Yes, this is a self-closing tag. I'll just save this and run. You're getting a nice little box where you can type anything. Yeah, so this basically is our input box, and this is pretty useful in JavaScript because now let me show you. Let me write here username and save this and run. Getting this kind, you might have seen this kind of stuff while logging into your web page or logging into a certain site. You'll be giving your email address, and when you give this when you give this email address, the computer has to store this email address, so which will be doing the stuff in the JavaScript, which on clicking this, the computer will accept the email address mentioned in your username or the input tag. So in default input tag, we have the text argument. You can see here, here text boxes. So now whatever you're viewing is a text box, but explicitly we need not mention it as a text box. Type is called text. Even this thing is similar to our previous thing. So basically when you write input, it intakes as a text box itself. That's about text box, and it depends on the way you use it. Now if you write your username over here, then the tag comes over here, and the input will be evaluated first. So first the input is evaluated, and hence a box is being formed, and then it encounters this text, so an text is being written. This is about the text box. And after text box, we are having checkbox. Checkbox, I guess you might have heard about it. Let's look into it. So whatever you're using, those all are of input tag. Input in the sense you're giving what do I say, some values to the end user, which means we're taking input from the user who is viewing this web page. Hence, the text box will be displayed by the user, the checkbox, the drop downs, everything. So first go for the input tag. And inside type, before you have mentioned checkbox, now you can see you're having these many attributes. These are not mainly useful. The main useful things is the button checkbox, the radio buttons, and the drop downs and everything. Let's go for checkbox. And now I have told you that this entire thing is displayed as a rectangular open box. Now this entire thing will be displayed as a, what do we say, a square. Now when you save this and run, you're getting a nice little square which you can click. But what is it for? Now let me give a line break so that you'll be understanding. Yeah, so let's write certain text here. Now let us say, instead of giving this br tag explicitly, let's enclose the paragraph tag itself. So usually they also call this as a nested tags because a tag inside a tag. Checkbox input, and let's give a text here saying Python. Now you're getting nice little box. Why I give Python? Because now let me show you. Paragraph tag. Now if I'm saying select the courses which you are interested in. Now when you save this and run, you're getting a certain text, and at bottom you're having Python. Let's give some more input tags. Let's say DSA and dev. You're getting nice little checkboxes over here. And a person want to undergo more than one courses, he'll be clicking Python, webdev, and even all the other options. He can even unselect these options. So that's about the checkboxes, which means you can select multiple questions. You'll be seeing in your quiz exams that whenever you'll be having a multiple choice question, you'll be having a checkboxes, which means you can select more than one option. And after checkboxes, we are having before going to drop down, yeah, let's go for radio buttons. I didn't mention it explicitly because it's almost same as checkboxes. Now go for an input tag, type radio. Yeah, that's the beauty about VS Code. They just give a one letter and you'll be getting the entire content about it. Radio. Now say this and one. You are getting a radio button. You can see the difference between them, and you cannot not unselect this because that's the only option left. If we are having two radio buttons, then we'll be able to unselect them. Let's give a certain text here. Now let me give another thing. Let's say enter your work experience, and here let's say 1 to 2 years. Same and 1. Yeah, you got 1 to 2 years. Now you can see I have to enter my work experience. Let's say I'm here doing 1 to 2 years. Let's give another p tag. let's say 2 to 3. Now this basically means that wait, 4, yeah, this basically means that uh, user can, if the user has an experience of 1 year, then he'll be selecting this. If a user has 2 years and 2 months, he'll be selecting this. So there's only chance of selecting one option. He can't select the both options, right? Now, I mean, if he's of 2 years, he'll be selecting this rather than this, because greater than 2, he'll be selecting this thing. When you run this, you are getting two options, but you can see we are able to select two options, which basically changes the entire meaning of the radio button. So let's change this. For that, you will be having another attribute, which is the name attribute. Let's give a name, say that work experience, and even let's give a name over here, which means you are having the radio buttons which belong to the same category. Because now let's say I'm creating another radio button, I'm having another question where we are talking about the work experience, and in my second question I'm talking about the study experience. And if I'm giving the radio buttons over there as well, then the computer might get confused about which radio button. If I click on the what do you say, the study experience radio button, then the work experience radio button might be disappearing. That's the reason they have gave a name attribute. So whatever the radio buttons having the same name attribute will be linked together. Now we can see, now let's say I'm giving same name over here, which is work experience. If I run this, and you can see I'm able to select only one option. Now if I give some different name, and if I run them, let me run them and see, I'm able to select multiple options, which means they are belong to different radio buttons in the same different context in radio buttons. To make them a same pack, you have to give them a same name. As simple as that. That's it. That's about the radio buttons. Another important attributes in them is, first let us talk about the input tag. um, Usually whenever you try to log in, let me change this, it looks pretty ugly. Okay, whenever you will be seeing this kind of username text box in websites, they'll be mentioning that it will be having a placeholder. Let me explain you what is placeholder. Let's say gmail.com. Now if you run it, you can see it's giving a pop-up to the user that you have to enter username in terms of gmail.com, not rather than name or the Microsoft accounts. No, only the gmail.com accounts are acceptable for your username. And when you try to type anything, the prompt will be disappeared. um, so it's basically to prompt up the user that information which you want, which you'll be accepting in terms of username, and that's the placeholder. And another other rather than placeholder, we'll be having another thing which is a value. Let's give a value of same, let's say at the gmail.com as well. I guess to show the difference between them, I'm giving the same value. Now you can see this actually written in the text box. Now if you want to write anything, you have to delete the preferred text and write it, which means the default value is being set to the username. That's about the value and placeholder. Coming to checkboxes, you're having multiple checkboxes. Suppose you are trying to do a course in a certain platform, and the criteria is that you have to select at least a single course, or you have to at least select the Python course is mandatory for doing. Let's say you have to do a DSA course for which you have to have knowledge of Python. If not, then you have to select the Python, which means the user, while opening the web page, should have an automatically ticked the Python checkbox. So to make certain changes, go to your checkbox and write checked. On refreshing it, you can see it's automatically being checked over here. If you want to check it, you can then uncheck it. Let's say you already know Python, you don't want to take the course, you can uncheck it. But for the people who doesn't know Python, he'll be knowing that, okay, so I have to take this Python mandatory if I don't know the Python. So that's about the checked tag. You can similarly use the checked in your radio buttons as well. You can see not only in this. Now let's say I have removed over here and kept over here. And it's being placed at the second floor. Just try it out, because out of curiosity, some might have got doubt if I write even checked over here, because I have told you that radio buttons can have only a single option to be ticked. But what if I'm giving the checked for both the option, then what will the computer display it? Because now let's say that I'm giving a checked over here as well. You can see both are being ticked, because this is a checkbox. We can have multiple answers to a single question, but for radio buttons that's not the case. So just try this out and you'll be understanding it. That's about the radio buttons, checkboxes and text. And next step we'll be having a drop down. Drop down usually we use here. Now you can see on pressing file you'll be getting a different drop down box. So this is what drop down stands for. Let's create a drop down box. So for drop down, you have to mention the select attribute. This is my select attribute, and inside select attribute, you'll be having another attribute which is an option. Now, let me show you. You're having this file. So these are the different options present in my drop down, and you can click only one option, right? If you click on this option, then you'll be having a different operation. When you click this, you'll be having a different operation. So that's about the option, and this entire thing is being under the select command. Now let's replicate this itself. Let's say new file. New window. Or how many new files do we have? And open folder. Yeah, save this. Don't forget to save and run, because I usually do these mistakes. I don't save, and when I try to run, there'll be no changes, and I'll be worrying what wrong have I done in my code. You can see I'm pressing new file. You're getting different options. Like here itself, for pressing file, you're getting different options. You can click any option. Yeah, and there's another attribute in this as well, because now when you reload the page, default value is new file, which is the first one you're mentioning in your option command. But what if I say the default value should be open? So whenever you see your checkbox, there should be an open command over here. Then go here and say that this is being selected. So VS Code does more than half of the work for you. Say this and run. You can see open is being prompt even before I have selected open. That's being selected, and you can change this thing to another attribute. Now another exercise for you. You can see that if I'm playing selected, then that attribute is being displayed on top before selecting. What if I'm giving selected to the multiple options over here? Then what would be my end result? You might be sure that it won't display two options, right? There's no place for it to display the two options, it will be displaying only one option. What if you give selected to two options? Just try this and check this out. You should have exploring this more possibilities, what would happen. That's where you'll be learning the subject. And uh, I'm just teaching you the part which will be useful for your JavaScript or React. If you wanted to know more, you can always go to your MDN or W3 schools. You'll be getting more and more attributes over there. Then that's about it. Drop down, and next up we'll be having the submit button. After select, this is also an input command, but the type of it is submit. Now save this. You see I'm not writing any text over here. It automatically displays submit button. The main thing on pressing submit button is that your page is being reloaded. You can see over here. Now let's say I'm making a certain change. Let's I'm typing the p title. Say this is being save this, and I'm not running this. You can see there's no text. There's no this is being reloaded text displayed over here. But on pressing submit button, you can see my page has been reloaded, which basically means that whatever information you have displayed over here will be attached to a link which will be placing using JavaScript or something. Then the link or the data will be stored over there on pressing the submit button. Now most of times you'll be seeing this submit name will not be shown explicitly. Rather than you'll be having a different name for that. You might have guessed, because I have to change the text present on top of the submit button, which we have done already. Here we have changed the value of the content. So to change the text present on it, all you have to do is to change the value of it. Go for value and say click here. Now reload, and you can see getting a click here. That's about the submit button. And yeah, that's it. And if you have more time to dig in, then check out my previous video. I have explored even more quantities over there, like the iframes, the tables. Now you will be not using tables much, so I haven't explained you. You can see the tables over there. And iframes is nothing but uh, you know let's go for YouTube. You will be getting a YouTube link wherein you can select them. Let me show you. Is there any video over here? Mhm. Now you can see that actually I'm in a Google browser, web browser. But if I'm this image over here is not an image, because when I try to go and press this link, it will be redirected to your YouTube web page. So why this is happening?
Welcome to Python is easy.
You might have think this is a link, you have used the link previously in our A tag, but that's not the case here, because if you have gave the link over here, then the content should be displayed like the HTML list elements, a line should be displayed, but rather than an image with a YouTube play symbol on it. So this is where the iframe comes into play. uh, you can just go to YouTube, and there you'll be finding an iframe link. Go check this out, try this yourself, because it's not so hard. You can do it this. If you want, you can take the help of MDN as well. uh, Usually, I like using iframes a lot because rather than giving a link, this is pretty interesting. When you see this is an eye-catching image, and on pressing this, it will be redirected you to the YouTube link or any other link. That's about the iframes, and this is what you will be knowing in your HTML session. Let me give you a brief introduction about what we have learned today. First, we have learned about HTML. We started with scratch, with knowing nothing about HTML, and we covered the main topics present in HTML. Then, basic syntax, get an HTML boilerplate, HR and BR tag. HR, the horizontal line. BR, just remember, self-closing tag. This both are self-closing tags. BR is for line break, and then we have talked about left list, and in BR tag I have also showed you what is difference between using two paragraph tags and a single BR tag, the line gap between them. That's about the HRMB tag. And then we talked about the list, the ordered and unordered list, and inside order list we have also seen the property, the type to change the values to Roman numbers to alphabets, and you can also reverse them by using reverse command. And coming to unordered list, we also change the bulletin points. Now suppose let's give tab, you're getting a circle, you're getting a square. So that's what basically is happening over here. You can change those types as well by going to style type property, and then these both are almost same. This you have to give a UL and OL tag. Inside those both tags will be having a list tag. And coming to images, for images is a self-closing tag as well, which will be having two attributes, a source attribute and alternative attribute. And in this, the source attribute is mandatory. If even though if you skip the alt tag, then it doesn't give much change. The only thing which is important is source tag to uh, uh, show you to go to a different page. I gave you an example about online resource. Right now, let's download an image and showing as we have a bit more time. So I'm downloading this image. Okay, let's go download. It's being downloaded. Let's head over to our image tag. Yeah, before doing that, the my image tag has to be in the same folder as this. You can see there's only index.html, a single file. Let's go, where's my front end React, my images. Let's place this. Yeah, my download.jpg is over here. This is our image. You can see now VH code has updated as well. Now this is an interesting thing. Go for source and press enter. You'll be seeing the options present over here. If you have multiple images, you'll be getting multiple options. Now I want to download.jpg. Just click on this and save this. And where's your page? One. You're getting a nice little image. That's about saving and running. We usually do this because your image will be saved over. Even if the user deletes in the Google, it doesn't delete in your local folder because you are being saved. The image is being saved. So that's what you flow in this image tag. You can also mention the alternate tag. Now you'll be saying there's no different, there's no change because alternative tag will be displayed only when the image will not be found. As the image is present, the alt tag will be showing no change. That's about image. Then we learned about the links, the different links present in our document and how to use them. Now, another interesting thing is that suppose you're having two web pages here. Now, let's say index.html, and we have another, let's say contact us.html. Now, in our index.html, let's say we are having here at the bottom, we'll be having a contact page, right? Now, let's say want to meet me or want to get in touch, click the link over here, and on clicking the link will be redirected to another web page where we'll be having our phone number or our mail address, LinkedIn profile, any other stuff. So which means basically we are moving from one web page to another web page, from one HTML page to another HTML page. In that cases, inside our a tag, here's my tag, in hyper reference, we'll be giving the tags over here. Now let me show you. You can see I'm getting the same options as that. Now suppose I'm giving the same index.html page as that itself. If I reload, see I'm getting the same element. Now what if I create another file, contact.html, but it's empty. Now here if I give this plain page because we didn't write anything our contact.html web page. That's the use. That's about the links. Then we have form elements, the different elements present in our form, the text box. So for everything you'll be using the input tag basically. Default input tag will be having a text, and for checkboxes you have to change the type to checkboxes, and for radio you'll be changing to radio. And the important thing in radio button is that they should have the same name, then only those will be work as the radio buttons. Where's my radio buttons, man? Yeah, as they are having same name, they come under the same quantity or the same topic. It's about radio button. Submit button we have learned. So you are having many more things, but at this point of time it's not useful. If you want, you can more dig in into MDN website and search for other attributes as well. And text boxes we learned about placeholder and value. Placeholder is pretty useful. And checkboxes and radio buttons will be having a checked value, and drop down will be having a selected. So in drop down you'll be having a select tag. Inside select tag we will be having another option tag. And you can even do in this way inside the list tag, or inside what we're saying, the option tag. Here we are saying new file, right? You can create a list tag over here as well. You can see you're having an order list and another list. Suppose let's say inside the order list I want thing order list, I want an input tag, input, and it's a type which is a checkbox. Let's say you can see usually will not be finding this. I'm explaining that so that you can, whatever tags we have discussed with you can be placed inside another tags as well. That's the main thing which I wanted to explain you. Then drop down, the drop down, we learned about the submit button. I'm pressing it, the information will be reloaded to the user data. The data will be stored. So yeah, it automatically refreshes the page. So what happening is when you press the submit button, this data is being taken and stored, and it again reloads the page. So that's what happens. And iframes I have told you, and you can even look into iframes a little bit more. Yes, that's about today's topic, and by this we completed the main HTML part, which we'll be needing in our further sessions. Tomorrow we'll be learning about the CSS part. Tomorrow will be really useful because I guess I took almost over 3 to 4 days to complete CSS briefly, but I'll be completing it over one day tomorrow. So stay tuned with me tomorrow. And CSS is a bit tough compared to HTML. Don't forget to attend tomorrow's session. uh, yes, that's it for today, guys. Thank you. And yes, quick reminder, this fill the attendance form and join our WhatsApp group mentioned in the description, because over there we'll be sharing this PPT, and if I find any other useful resources, then I'll be keeping them in the WhatsApp group only. So join a WhatsApp group and stay tuned with it. Thank you, guys, and that's it for today.